then Darshan Mania, Darshan Raj, then Dipen Koradia, okay, Divya, then Hitesh Kriplani, then Krunal Chauhan, Mansi, then Muhammad, then Om Parikh, then Pema, then Preet Limbani, Priyanshu
Sir,
Jha. Yes,
sir,
yes.
can you can you please tell which Muhammad, because we are two Muhammad.
So I think Muhammad Kaif.
Oh, okay,
Sir,
okay.
Okay.
I have
So he is.
enrolled in the course
So then you
last
are
week only.
supposed to complete that experiment which I have assigned to entire class. The name of that experiment is course area registration screenshot.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, I will
So
do it right away.
take a screenshot in which your name is visible as well as your enrollment into that classroom is visible there.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
and then you are supposed to upload that screenshot. So then and then it will be considered complete. Okay,
Okay, sir.
otherwise it won't be considered completed.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so can we move forward with today's learning or today's topic discussion?
Sir, do we need to accept a request for individual experiment, or one time if we have accepted, then all experiments are included?
Mm, Now, let me tell you that once you will accept the classroom request, then okay, then assignment
Yes, sir.
that
Classroom
is
request is accepted.
accepted. Yes, so now there is no need to accept individual assignment. Okay, you are supposed to submit the assignment directly there. Okay, I will directly assign you the assignment and then you are supposed to complete those assignments. Clear?
Hello,
Okay, sir.
Yes,
hello. Sir, is there
yes,
any deadline for that Coursera course?
yes. There was deadline for that day only, day evening. Okay, but if you have not till completed it, then I have just evaluated few people. Okay, that for few people I have marked, I have considered, and then for them I have uploaded or I have just entered the marks.
Okay,
So
okay, sir.
okay, so you people are supposed to complete it as soon as possible. Okay, and in classroom I have created some extra assignments. So for each extra program, I will mention that this program is extra. So if you want to have some, let's say, challenging task or something a little bit tricky or different, okay, then you can start with those or you can continue with those experiments. Now, let me start today's session or this today's topic, so you can have idea that what we are going to discuss today. So let me first of all create a file. Okay, so is it visible to all of you now? Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we will continue our discussion with the list. Okay, we will see some more string manipulation function or how to convert any string into the list. Okay, so for example, let me take a string, let's say hello world. Okay, now in previous lecture we have discussed some functions of list. Okay, can anyone tell me, can anyone give me an input that how we can do it? Because you people already gone through 3-day Python workshop, as well as in previous lecture we have discussed some functions of list. Yes, can anyone tell me? You people already gone through it.
Sir, functions of list.
Yes.
Sir, little bit remove and that kind of. I not remember exactly, but clear copy and some of the functions.
No, what is my
Insert.
question? Yes, what is my question? That how we can convert list into the string, sorry, string into the list.
using loop.
Using loop. Okay. Anything else?
So using split function.
Using split function. Okay, using only list. So let me see how we can do x is
Sir,
equals
please
to
repeat the question, sir.
how to convert this string into the list.
So we can split it and append it into the list.
One approach is character by character, right? That we will scan the string one by one and then we will display. Okay, so here you can see if you will simply do the typecasting. Okay, if you will do simply typecasting means you will convert a particular string into list using list function. Okay, this is known as typecasting. We will convert something into something else. So if you will simply write down the list and then you will specify the let's say the name of the variable, okay, then it will be automatically converted into the you can say list. Okay, so this is where we can convert list into the we can convert string into the list. Okay, now let me give you another example where we can use the list. Okay, where we can use the typecasting. Okay, for example, let me take an input from the user. So input, okay, and then we will display message enter comma separated values. Okay, and comma separated value means we will separate values using comma. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I want to create a list from this. So y is equals to x dot split. Okay, and what will be the argument? Comma. Okay, and then we will display it. So here in split function, you have to specify the separator. Okay, separator means using which we will separate the various list item. Okay, so here comma is the separator, and then we will display the y. Now, can anyone tell me what is the abnormal thing in output? Can anyone observe this?
Sir, integer numbers are displayed as string.
Yes. So whenever we will use split function, okay, split will split string using separator and return set, or we can say list of string tokens. List of string tokens. Okay, so split will split the string using separator and return the list of string token. So whatever value will be written by the split function, that will be string. Now let's say if you want to convert this into the integer, then what we can do or how we can do it? For I, yes, can anyone tell me? Let's say L1 is equals to length of y. Okay, then for I in range, we will say we will go up to length. Okay, and then we will convert individual element into the you can say integer. So y of 0 or y of I rather than 0, y of I is equals to int y of I, and then let's print y. Okay, so this is how we can iterate over the list, and this is how we can convert it into the you can say specific data type, whether integer or not. Here we are not focusing on, here we will assume that user will enter only integer values. Okay, but let's say if user is entering floating point value or string or something else, okay, so in that case we have to go with the try and catch, where we will try to convert individual list item into appropriate data type. Okay, clear with this? Now, let me give you an example that where this kind of thing will be useful. Okay, or specifically when split function will be useful to you. So whenever you are working with the data science, in that case, you require a data set. Okay, so that data set you will read in form of CSV, comma separated value. So data set will be a CSV file. From that data set file, you will read line by line, you will read the data line by line, and then each line you will separate or you will split it using comma, and then you will convert it into appropriate format. Now, normally in CSV file, there will be a header file. Okay, so that header file will specify the column name. Okay, and that by reading at the or by looking at the column name, you can assume or you can predict that this column will have this type of data or something like that. Yes, so this split function will be helpful to you specifically when you are getting a formatted input either from the file or from the user. Okay, now let's move towards the tuple. Now, only difference between list and tuple is that tuple is immutable. So once you have created the tuple, okay, then you cannot alter it. Okay, so the way we have discussed the method like append or you can say copy or pop or remove. Okay, so those kind of means tuple altering methods are not supported. So how to declare the tuple? Okay, so if you want to declare any tuple, let's say tuple T1, okay, then we have to use round bracket. Okay, for list we are using square bracket. For tuple we will be using round bracket. Yes, how to iterate over the tuple? Okay, how to iterate over the tuple? So for that we will use same method we have used for the list. Let's say for I in T1, print I. Okay, yes, let's print the ID and type of the T1 so you can have idea. Print T1, comma, type of T1 and comma ID of T1. Okay, so here you can see the class of this variable T1, it is tuple and this is the ID. Okay, you clear with this? All of you? Any doubt till now whatever we have discussed? We can also apply length method on tuple. Okay, so if you want to iterate using index, then you have to find out the length. Let's say length L1 is equals to length of T1. Okay, then for I in range, let's say L1, print T1 of I. Okay, so there are two ways. Now, mainly when list will be useful and when tuple will be useful. So whenever you are passing some read-only kind of thing from one function to another function or from one file to another file, from one module to another module, at that time we will use you can say tuple. Now, can anyone give me any other example where we can use tuple? Just any other example?
Sir, when in program we need to fix any value that that cannot be changed by the user, then we can use this tuple.
Okay, so whenever we want to create a read-only variable, at that time we can use the tuple. Good. Yes, that what I mentioned. Anything else?
Sir,
Yes,
for coordinates.
for coordinating. Yes, anything else? Yes, I got any response in text. Tuples are used to group together related data. Yes, this is a good answer from Google. If you will search it on Google, then this will be the first answer that you will get. But I would like to know that how related items.
Sir, at sir tuple change नहीं हो सकता कभी भी.
So
That's why.
that is a property. That is a property of tuple.
So that's why we use for relation. थोड़ा सा.
सर कोई भी रिलेटेड डेटा है, अगर मतलब कोई भी डेटा रिलेटेड है तो
Oh.
अगर ताकि उसे चेंज ना कर पाए, इसलिए मतलब क्योंकि अगर चेंज कर देंगे तो फिर रिलेशन एक इनवैलिड हो जाएगा, इसलिए तो इसलिए टपल टपल में उसका वैल्यू स्टोर करते हैं ताकि चाकर भी चेंज ना कर पाए.
Okay. That's good, but I need some good example where we can use tuple. Mhm. And can you give me any practical example where we can use tuple?
सर
Anyone?
गवर्नमेंट आइडेंटिफिकेशन डेटाबेस.
Yes, so authentication. So whenever you are authenticating any user in real life scenario, okay, let's say if you are passing username, password in form of, let's say, encrypted format, okay, or Aadhaar number or Aadhaar authentication. So in that case, we will use tuple. Okay, so what we will do from our side, we will create tuple and then we will pass that tuple to the authentication server. So then that server will handle it. Okay, and why this will be helpful, because in between there will be if someone will try to change it, then it cannot be. Why? Because it is tuple. While in case of list, it may be possible that someone or some entity may change it. Now, let's try to see some functions, whether they are working with tuple or not. Okay, so print max of T1. Okay, now max function will be useful whenever you are whenever you want to get the maximum value from the tuple. Similarly, you can use minimum. Okay, now let's see if there is average function. Okay, so average function is not there. Standard deviation. So these are the function of pandas and numpy. So in pandas, you can apply mean, max, then quintal. So that we will see whenever we will learn panda. So mean and max function can be used with you can say tuple. So it will give you the minimum and maximum values, and then there is I think sorted and T1. Yes, so then also it will work fine. Let me declare unordered tuple. Yes, there is a doubt from Dharmik. Sir, can you explain tuple again? Yeah, sure, why not? Let me repeat it quickly so you can have idea that whenever you want read-only kind of thing, at that time we can go with the tuple. Okay, so let's say what was the scenario in case of list? In case of list, the list can be manipulated multiple times, or you can say you can manipulate it, you can change the element of list or something like that. While in case of tuple, once you have declared the tuple, that means it is fixed. You cannot alter it. Okay, clear? So whenever you want to pass something, you can say read-only kind of thing, then in that case, we will use only and only tuple. Okay, so if you are passing argument to another function, then we will specify tuple. Dharmik, clear? Okay, now some of the methods which we have discussed of the tuple are, let's say, maximum, then minimum, then sorted. Let me create some unsorted tuple so you can have idea that how it will work. Let's say 4, 6, 5, then you can say 1, 3, 2. Okay, and here we will try to print it tuple. So here you can see sorted method will sort the function, sort the tuple, and then it will display it to the user. Clear with this? Till now, whatever we have discussed. Any doubt in whatever we have discussed till now? Anybody?
Sir, what is the difference between function and method?
Both are same. Actually, functions are it is known as function in procedural programming language. Okay, and in object-oriented programming language, it is known as method. Got it? The variable
so-
name, yes, variable name is known as, it is known as variable name in procedural programming. Okay, and it is known as, let's say, attribute in object-oriented programming language. Got it?
Okay, so methods are also stored in libraries.
Yes, the collection of method itself is known as library. Methods and class. Okay,
Also
Python is
function.
yes, method or function, whatever you say. Now, let me tell you that whatever you have, whatever class you have created, okay, along with the method, okay, it will be stored in library. Now, previous concept of library was like that we will group the functions or the methods of common, you can say, common operation. Let's say all the mathematical related function were stored in math library, math.h header file. Okay, now that header file is not actually, you can say it will not contain code, but it will contain the entry point into the compiled file. Okay, so header file will not store all the code. Okay, but what header file will do, header file will tell compiler that if you are looking for a particular function, then that function is available in this file. Okay, so header file will give information to the computer that what is the syntax, or you can say what is the signature of the function. Okay, and how you can use it. But individual file will be always you can say or compiled file will be always stored somewhere else. Okay, so in C it is like that. In Python also it is like that. That whenever you will in Python, actually in Python there are not any other you can say compile kind of facility. Okay, although you can compile the Python file, or you can generate, or you can convert it into the exe, but most of time what will happen whenever you will import any file, so whatever methods are there, that metadata will be all retrieved, and whenever you will use IntelliSense, or you can say autocomplete, at that time it will suggest you function from there. Okay, for example yeah, for example, there is a string IO or something, import math. Okay, now math dot, if you will press tab, then it will try to let's say it will try to show you all the methods which are available into the math library. Okay, so let's say you can create alias import math as empty. Okay, and then empty, then you can write empty dot empty dot, why it is not working, just a second. If you will press tab, then it will show you all the methods which are supported by the math. Okay, so this is how you can create the alias, and you can import the library. So library we will discuss later on. Okay, but right now we are discussing some functions which are related to the tuple. So let's discuss it. Let's say if you want to perform or if you want to manipulate individual element, then you can do it like uh, let's say x is equals to t2 of 0 plus t2 of 1 and x. Okay, so it will perform the addition of 0 element and the first element, which is like you are accessing the way like normal. Now, similarly, there are some inbuilt function as well. Okay, so let me give you one example. We have created two tuples. First name of the first tuple is T1 and T2. So let's say T3 is equals to T1 plus T2. T3. Okay, so this will do nothing but simply it will perform the concatenation. It will merge both the tuple. Similarly, if you want to check the membership function, okay, then you can check which are the membership function. Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me the membership function? Can anyone tell me? Because in list, can anyone tell me? In list, we have discussed the membership function. Yes. Anyone from the class can tell me that which is the membership function? Which one is the membership function? In, very good. In and not in. These two are the membership function. Let's say how we can do it. 9 in, let's say T1. Okay, so
So
here
can is
yes, yes.
sorry sir, sorry for interruption. I was asking, can is also be called that membership function?
These will be used. Ease will be used for comparison. Okay, you cannot use ease for membership function, but you can use ease for comparison.
Okay, sir.
You can use ease for comparison. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this is the membership function. This is how you can check the membership of particular element in tuple, whether a particular element exists in tuple or not. Okay. Then in and not in. So both can be used. Okay. In use means simple in is used whether a particular element exists in tuple or not. Okay, so it will return true if element is in tuple. Otherwise, it will return false. Yes. Similarly, not in. What will happen in not in? Not in is used whether a particular element
It's not present there, then it will show
not
true.
exist in tuple. Okay, so true. If element is not in tuple, otherwise it will return false. Okay, means if that element exists in tuple, then it will return false. Clear with this membership function? Okay, now similarly, you can use negative index with tuple. Okay, so negative index, like let's say if you want to access the last element of the, let's say T3. Okay, so we can display or we can access it like T3 or -1. So it will show you the last element. Okay, have we discussed the slicing in previous lecture or not?
No, sir.
No, it's not yet discussed, right?
No, sir. You are about to tell that.
Yes, yes, we are about to discuss it. So let me discuss something more about. Okay. Let me discuss the slicing because it will be useful to you in tuple as well. So let me create a list. Let's say L1 equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Okay, so what is slicing, or you can say selection? So selection is like, let's say if you selection is, let's say, if you want to select a specific element, okay, then how you can do it? I think Girish is facing some issue related to joining the classroom. Can anyone tell Girish to join using Institute email ID? He is messaging me in WhatsApp. Yes, so if you want to select particular element in the list, then how we can do it, or how to create the slice of list. So let me tell you that I want to start from the first element, okay, and I want to go up to, let's say, last element. So ending index I will not specify, and by default let's keep it 1, so you can have idea. Now why it is, oh, so I forgot to put it. So here, while you are creating slice, here you can specify, you can use 3 things. Okay, in slicing, first will be the start, next will be the stop, and next will be the step. Here instead of comma there will be colon. So start, stop, and step. So here by default start is 1. So here you can see first element is 1, that is on index 0. Okay, so it won't be considered, it will go to the next. So here we have specified 1, so it will start with the index 1. Okay, let me write down index as well for your reference, so you don't get confused. This is index 0, then index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Okay, so 10, 11, 12. So yeah, in top line I have mentioned the index. Okay, and then at bottom I have mentioned the particular element. Okay, now let me tell you next thing, that if I want to select every second element, okay, let's say from starting, if we will not specify anything for starting, then by default it will be 0, and stop, it will be last element. If I will say 2, okay, then it will select every second element. Okay, so 1 means it will start with index 0, then index 2, then index 4, index 6, index 8, index 10, index 12. Okay, so here you can see 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, okay, 15, and at last 17. Clear with this? So if I will say 3, then it will start with 0, 0 plus 3, 3, 3 plus 3, 6, 6 plus 3, 9, 9 plus 3, 12, 12 plus 3, 15, 15 plus 3, 18. Okay, so it is out of index. So whatever element are there inside the range, okay, all those element can be, all those element will be displayed. Clear with this? Okay, now let me tell you, let's say if you want to select every second element starting from 9, okay, and you want to go up to 14. So if you start with the 9, okay, then what is the first element? 10. 9 plus 2, 11. So on index there is 12, so it will display 12. Then 11 plus 2, 13. So it will show you the value 14, whatever is on index 13. 13 plus 2, 15. Now that 15 is out of the scope. Okay. So it won't be displayed. Now here, if you will not specify any step size, then by default step size will be 1. So it will show you all the elements starting from 9. So 9, then 10, then 11, then 12, and then 13. Okay, so 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now here again you have to remember that here the scope or the boundary is non-inclusive. Okay, it won't be considered. Let me tell you something else. If you want to display entire list in reverse order, okay, then you have to do nothing, simply say -1. Okay, so if you will say -1, then it will start with the last index, okay, and then it will move forward automatically. Okay. Yes. Now, if you want to see last element from second position, yes, last second position. Okay. We know, Girish, you are back. What will happen if we will put -2? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what will happen?
It will start from by 2 steps.
It will start from.
It will start from the end. It will start from the end with 2 steps.
Okay, it will start from end with 2 steps.
Second last number. That is 2.
No, it will start with the last step. It will start with the last position, and step size will be 2.
Yes.
Step size will be 2. Can you see the output now? What we have mentioned, -2. So it will start with the last position. Okay, 17, and then 15. Okay, on 15 there is 16. Then on 13 there is 14. On 11, 12. Then 10. Then 8. Then 6. Then 4. Then 2. Okay, and next it will try to decrement it, so it will be -1. So it will not, you can say, show you anything. So there it will stop. Now what will happen if we specify some boundary? Let's say we are specifying 1 to 10 and -2.
Sir, it won't show anything.
Yes, why? Because the index starting and stopping position we have specified inappropriately. But in this case,
it will show from the 10th to
yes, very good. It will show from the 10th, it will go up to at max 1 and step size will be -2. Clear? Everybody is getting whatever I'm just trying to tell you?
Yes, sir.
Anybody is having any doubt in whatever I have told you?
Sir, I have doubt, but it is not related to this concept, but it is related to previous one.
Yes, yes.
That which particular situation we need to specify data type, and in which particular we don't need to.
Now, whenever, let's say
if
that
we
if you are having, you are asking about conversion, data type conversion, right? Typecasting.
typecasting or type specifying, where we need to specify that it is type of int or it is type of that or that.
No, actually, the type function will be useful whenever you are trying to see the type. Okay, the container. Okay, what is the type of that container? What is the container type of a particular variable? So at that time, it will be helpful to you.
No,
Now,
sir, that's not the type function, but I'm talking about when we need to write particular that int or like that. In here, Python also, if we
Okay, let me tell you that, yes, let me give you one scenario. So you just are asking for scenario. Let's say we are getting one input from the file, okay, 1.341 and 3.14, then hello, and then true. Okay, now first one is integer, second one is float, third one is, you can say string, and fourth one is boolean. Okay, now this is the data string from the data file, whatever for whatever data file you want to perform the data analysis. Now, how you will know that this is this belongs to this? Okay, so for that you have to use try. Okay, try and accept. So here what we will do, first you will try to convert this value into the you can say float. First, you will try to convert this into the float. Okay, if you are not able to convert it into the float, then in next try, you will try to convert it into the integer. Okay, are you getting or not?
Yes, sir.
If it is not able to be converted into integer, then you will try to convert it into the string. Okay, so this we will see in exception handling, that when this typecasting can be specified. Okay, similar after string, you can say if you are not able to convert it into the string, okay, then it will be converted into boolean. Okay, so then there you will use this typecasting function. Okay, but here most of time what will happen that whenever you will use pandas data frame, okay, then pandas data frame will automatically detect the data type, whether it is belonging to integer or whether it is belonging to float or it is object or it is categorical or string or numeric. So those kind of data type will be automatically you can say detected by the pandas. Clear with this? Clear with this?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
And if I'm trying to access an element from list protocol and I'm going to store it in other variable, right? So then also do I need to specify that particular data type from if I'm accessing the element of L1 of ninth element, and then I
No, then there is no need to specify the data type. Whatever, let's say this is the integer. Let me show you. Let's say x is equals to L1 of 9. Okay, and print x comma type of x. So here you can see, here we have not specified the data type. Okay, but what is the data type of 9? Int. Okay, so you can see as soon as we will automatically assign the integer value to a particular variable, okay, it will be converted to that type. Okay, now instead of 9, let me put hello.
Below type.
Now here you can see here what we are getting.
Int. Oh, okay, for 10.
Let me make it 8. 8. Here you can see here what we have assigned string to variable x.
String. Yes.
Okay, so automatically container will be decided to, or it will be converted to the string. Getting it or
String.
not? Okay, so
Yes.
while
Yes.
you are assigning variable, this is known as you can say feature of Python, that is dynamic typing. So runtime, whenever you will assign the variable, that container type will be decided automatically.
Okay.
Clear?
And how many maximum argument can have print function? Like
Yes, in print you can print n arguments.
okay, but provided it should be true logically, like
Yes.
do not have any syntax error or like that.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, without it you can print n items.
Okay.
Okay, as well as there are some default argument like format. If you are using string, then format, then that and equals to. Okay, so all those arguments are separate. So along with an argument, you can print it. You can use those and different inbuilt attribute, or you can say property of that function.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, clear with this? Now, theoretically, it is, as I told you, theoretically, it will be, let's say, n. Okay, but in practical, you have to check whether that how many variable you can print. Okay, 1,000 or 2,000 or 10,000 or 50,000. You can print all those together. Okay, or there will be a buffer limit. Okay, let's say whenever you will start any process, Python process, then operating system will allow you to have some fixed amount of memory. Okay, it will not allow you, let's say 8 GB RAM is free, so it will allocate you 8 GB. Okay, it won't be like that. A fixed set of memory will be assigned to you. But if you will try to access very huge amount of memory, then it may give you error. Okay, but conceptually you can print n number of argument into the Python.
Yes,
Clear?
sir. Even that I can understand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, so we were discussing about slicing. Now, what will happen in this case? We are just trying to explore the various options of, you can say, uh, this slicing. So what will be the output of this? Yes, I got your input. There is a typing module for this. Pretty typing. Okay, so if you want some formatted output, then you can use pretty typing. Yes, what will be the output of this line? Print L1 10 comma 1, sorry, 10 column 1 and then colon nothing.
I think it should give an error.
Yes,
I think it should give an error.
it should give you error. No, it is not giving any error. Okay, if we will, let's say starting and stopping index, we are specifying in this way, then we have to specify the negative step size. Okay, if you specify -1, then it will work very fine. Okay, so here this step will also work as direction. It will also work as direction, step as well as direction. In many cases, if you are not specifying anything, then it will work as a direction. So, anybody is having any doubt till now, whatever we have discussed? Anyone? Anyone is having any doubt?
No, sir. No, sir.
Are you with me? Means whatever I am just trying to tell you, are you getting it? All of you?
Yes.
Okay. So I think in this lecture, we will keep up to this. I forgot to mention one thing, that is yield. Okay, so that we will discuss in next lecture. Please tell me to discuss the use of yield. Okay. Sorry, it is YIELD. Yield. So next lecture, we will discuss how we can use the yield. Okay, till now, whatever you have done in those cases, what you till now, wherever you have used for loop, okay, how you have done, you will execute the for loop and then you will return the last result. Okay, but now if you want to return the intermediate result in the for loop, okay, let's say each iteration you want to return something to the calling function. Okay, at that time you can use the yield. So I will show you, I will give you the demonstration that how to use the yield, and as well as we will also discuss how we can use the dictionary data type in Python. So in next lecture we will discuss dictionary data type. Clear?